Following the Chainsaw Man church incident, Denji is at his lowest, having lost his home and pets. Asa steps in to help him search for the missing Nayuta, but dark forces lurk in the shadows, waiting for them. It's revealed that Asa and Fami are the ones paused at the entrance of the complex, Asa noticeably lacking an arm. When Asa asks about their school uniforms, Fami explains that they are the least conspicuous attire available. She details that the perimeter is loaded with sensors that activate lethal turrets. As they discuss, Yoru interjects, questioning the whereabouts of Chainsaw Man. Fami discloses he is located in the basement's 3rd level, accessible only through the main gate, which the War Devil is tasked with demolishing. Asa questions if defeating Chainsaw Man will rescue Denji, to which Fami confirms. Yoru probes if Asa is having doubts, but she quickly recovers her resolve. As the pair advances through the complex, public safety officials observing them signal for the attack. Asa, displaying her powers, commands the turrets remotely under a contract crafted by the Famine Devil, which Fami notes. Yoru comments on the fortunate outcome of Asa's innocence as the two head in further. Soon, the break-in is reported to the facility staff, who recognize Asa is affiliated with the Chainsaw Man Church. Fami alerts Asa about an upcoming weapons facility not covered by her tampered contract, suggesting Asa will need to confront them directly. However, Asa, pointing out her missing arm, insists it should be Fami's task. Fami counters, positioning herself as the last resort, and steers Asa away from the guard's view, reminding her of the mission's high stakes and that any mistake could be fatal. Just then, Asa stumbles as Fami remarks about her clumsiness, before pulling out another one of her devil pawns. The public safety agents open fire on Asa and Fami, but Fami swiftly deploys her devil effigy, summoning the pigeon-headed guillotine devil. She commands it to eliminate the guards, yet it merely disarms them and strips them of their uniforms, leaving them to surrender. Frustrated, Fami asks the devil why it spared the men, only to receive an unclear shriek in response. Asa, curious, questions why Fami hadn't used the effigy sooner, to which the Famine Devil reveals that the devil she starves can't attain their full power whilst under her control. Just as a public safety officer who had declared the surrender lunges at Asa, she blocks his strike, allowing Yoru to land a powerful kick that knocks him to the ground. The two complement each other while the defeated officer pleads for mercy. Suddenly, Haruka, Segi, and Nobana appear through a nearby door. The guillotine devil screeches, scaring Nobana. Haruka steps forward, instructs his companions to fall back, and confronts Fami, demanding she leaves. She complies as he explains how Fami's schemes have ruined their lives, revealing that their involvement has landed them on the nation's most wanted list. He formally expels Fami and Asa from the Devil Hunter Club, declaring his independence, to which Fami responds nonchalantly. Asa clarifies their mission is not to aid the Devil Hunter Club, but to reach Chainsaw Man. Realizing the opportunity to meet his hero, Haruka impulsively decides to accompany them, with Segi and Nobana joining alongside him. Haruka assures Akoku and Nobana that they are free to make their own choices about following him. Akoku confesses he has nowhere else to go, while Nobana admits he's been trying to leave but can't locate an exit. When he spots a door, he assumes it leads outside, but instead it opens to a cell holding pseudo Chainsaw Man. At the door stands the man responsible for Denji's torment, who shares various theories about the transformation process into Chainsaw Man, including levels of devotion to Chainsaw Man, or that there were devils already among the church's ranks. He questions the Devil Hunter Club members about why their heads weren't affected while his wife, who was also in the cell, transformation. He reflects on his wife's kindness, recounting how she prepared his lunch every day, and contrasts her fate with that of an irritating neighbor who remained unchanged, believing it to be unfair he hasn't done anything wrong. Asa questions him about his certainty, and he admits to having an affair but tries to downplay its significance by saying it only lasted 6 months. Meanwhile, Yoru realizes that he's only buying time and kicks Fami aside, dodging an attack from Katana Man. The attack seemed to have rattled the guillotine devil enough to have caused it to retreat, while Fami calling it useless in response. The Nail Fiend, who had previously teamed up with Katana Man during the Chainsaw Man church raid, also shows up, attempting to attack Fami. However, Yoru intervenes, kicking her out of the way again. The Fiend mocks Yoru, urging her to be gentler. Yoru responds, suggesting the Fiend should try having only one arm. Yoru then questions Fami about using her powers, but her lack of a response indicates her inability to do so. Katana Man recognizes Yoru and comments that her collection of poems will be on sale soon. His partner, the Nail Fiend, teasingly asks if he's a fan, which Katana Man furiously denies, blaming the cult-like worship of Chainsaw Man for their current state of the world. The banter escalates, with Nail Fiend suggesting they might as well be the bad guys if they continue mocking each other, and even takes a dig at Katana Man's past as a mobster, only for the Devil Hunter agent with the patch orders the two to eliminate the intruders. Thinking quick on her feet, Asa tells Katana Man they're here to fight Chainsaw Man, confusing both him and Haruka. She convinces him that she can lead him to Chainsaw Man, challenging whether he truly knows whom he's been guarding. The Special Division 7 agent tries to command Katana Man and Nail Fiend, leveraging their aspirations of reviving their Yakuza family and starting a successful business respectively. However, they resist, with Nail Fiend expressing distaste for the recent killings of children and Katana Man fueled by a singular desire to confront Chainsaw Man. The agent, disheartened, acknowledges his wife's earlier advice against joining the Special Division and decides to retreat, promising to send another to deal with them while they go see Chainsaw Man. Yoru mockingly comments on public safety's cowardice, and Haruka is visibly shaken by the confrontation. Yoru embraces Katana Man's earlier sentiment about living to fight Chainsaw Man, which prompts an acknowledgement from the hybrid that Yoru truly is Chainsaw Man's woman because she's stealing his lines. Elsewhere, Denji's surgical team, upon learning of the intrusion, decides to take a break. As Asa and her group storm in, Katana Man threatened the surgeons to step aside or face lethal consequences. Fami believes that Chainsaw Man should be in the room. In response, a surgeon points to boxes, shockingly revealing that Denji has been completely dismembered, which greatly disheartens Yoru. When the surgeons demand an apology for the intrusion, only Nobana complies. In a fit of frustration, Yoru kicks a box, spilling out a hand, and then commands her team to piece Chainsaw Man back together. While Yoru, Katana Man, and Nail Fiend stand by, the rest of the group busily works to reassemble Denji. Nobana, discovering his heart, prompts the head surgeon to question why the three aren't assisting. Yoru points to her injury as an excuse, while Katana Man dismissively comments that chores are for kids. Haruka excitedly handles his idol's organs, while Segi asks about more delicate parts of Chainsaw Man. Katana Man makes a crude joke, but Yoru insists on keeping Denji intact for their forthcoming battle, refusing to let the humor distract them. The conversation turns to the topic of love when Katana Man teases Yoru about her lack of romantic experience. Yoru declares romance as frivolous, something that only fools one into foolishness. The Nail Fiend counters, arguing that the folly of love is what makes it enjoyable, and implies that Yoru, still a high schooler, might not truly grasp the concept of love, which embarrasses and irritates Yoru. As the group continues their efforts, Nobana locates Denji's head. An excited Haruka quickly checks with the surgeon if it truly belongs to Chainsaw Man, and then reveals to Asa the startling truth about Denji's identity. As Asa processes this revelation, their moment is abruptly interrupted when the door bursts open. The unnamed Special Division 7 agent, previously assigned as Denji's bodyguard, steps through, commanding his backup, who turns out to be Quanxi, to eliminate all intruders, dramatically escalating the confrontation. Nail Fiend tries to distract Quanxi by asking about her beauty, buying time as Katana Man powers up for his assault and Asa and Yoru prepares for action. However, Quanxi easily deflects the nails hurled at her by Nail Fiend, and Katana Man's strike proves futile as he is swiftly decapitated. Haruka accidentally drops Denji, prompting Yoru to grab a scalpel to use as a sword, but she's immediately overpowered by Quanxi. In the melee, Nail Fiend suffers a severe gut wound, and Nobana, in a state of panic, defensively clutches Denji's severed head. As Quanxi readies to deliver a fatal blow, she hesitates upon seeing Denji's face. Despite her accomplice's urgent cries to continue the attack, Quanxi confesses she was warned by an old friend to avoid harming Denji, which leads Takagi to rant about his distrust towards the public safety divisions. He attempts to threaten Quanxi by saying he will abandon her girlfriend's bodies in a ditch instead of returning them to her if she disobeys. However, before Quanxi can react, the agent is suddenly struck down by his wife, who has fully transformed into a pseudo Chainsaw Man. Nail Fiend remarks that Katana Man had inadvertently freed her by destroying the door, while the wife begins consuming her husband's corpse. Defeated, Quanxi surrenders, requesting to be eliminated and claiming she will regenerate like Chainsaw Man. In Fujimoto humor, the surgeons, likely tired of having to deal with any of this shit, pretend to not hear a damn thing. Okay, let's pause the video real quickly to give a shout out to these surgeons, literally one of the best things that has happened in this Prison Break segment of the arc. Anyways, Yoru, curious, questions Quanxi about Chainsaw Man's strength compared to hers, to which Quanxi admits he is weaker but far more fearsome than her. The scene closes without revealing Yoru's decision to strike Quanxi down or not. Later, while channel surfing, Haruka is frustrated to find no news coverage of their group's daring escape. Instead, the media is abuzz over a scandal involving Koma Komagawa, an idol who was falsely accused of infidelity by a tabloid. Nobana, a fan of Koma, is relieved by the revelation, but Haruka exclaims that he must be dreaming, despite the fact that millions of people are transforming into devils thanks to the Chainsaw Man Church, wars are breaking out, and the fact that them, a group of high schoolers who were once considered the top of the nation's most wanted list, were able to escape scot-free. Nobody's talking about them. Asa speaks up, complaining that nobody cares about her anymore despite having lost her arm and once being the most popular devil hunter around. Yet, Haruka and Asa agree that the most surreal aspect of all is Denji being Chainsaw Man. Nelphine casually observes Denji sleeping, noting his cuteness, though Asa complains about Katana Man taking a long time in the bathroom. Nelphine tells her not to look at them and asks Asa if this is Fami's hideout, suggesting she complains to Fami instead. However, when Asa goes to speak to her, she finds Fami devouring a plate of spaghetti and other foods with her hands. Nelphine ponders Fami's slim figure, while Denji, waking up, is confused about his whereabouts and the loss of Asa's arm, which she attributes to Yoshida. Before he can digest the information, Katana Man unexpectedly attacks Denji, seeking revenge for what Denji and Aki did to him in their earlier encounter, and now he wants a rematch. The situation escalates as Yoru also attacks Denji, dismissing his human form as unnecessary, asking Chainsaw Man to wake up. Nobana then states he doesn't feel safe, but Haruka asks where else are they supposed to go. Despite the discomfort from being kicked in the groin by Yoru and Katana Man, Denji demands information on Nayuta's whereabouts. Yoru, unfamiliar with Nayuta, tries to pull Denji's ripcord to wake him up. Denji stops her but agrees to fight as much as needed, provided he learns that Nayuta is safe. Asa, regaining control of her body, asks Denji what happened. The group journeys back to the site of Denji's home, where Denji's shocked to discover that it is now just charred remains. Haruka informs Denji that if Nayuta isn't found here, there's little more they can do. Denji silently sifts through the rubble, refusing to accept Yoru's blunt assertion that Nayuta might be truly gone if his last sighting of her was surrounded by armed adults. Instead, he continues his desperate search. Asa, empathizing with Denji's pain, recalling how he once understood hers, vows to help in any way she can. And don't worry guys, she definitely will. Denji, however, frustratedly points out the contradiction in Asa's actions, from the painful kick to her sudden kindness, leaving Haruka in agreement. Asa, mimicking Yoru, suggests that fighting might be able to restore Denji's ordinary life. Denji declines, explaining that transforming into Chainsaw Man brings only pain and suffering. His primary goal is finding Nayuta. When Asa asks Fami for advice, Fami suggests that Denji's lack of enthusiasm for fighting might stem from hunger. Confirming Fami's theory, Denji's stomach growls. Asa offers to get Denji any food he wants except sushi because she dislikes it. Katana Man criticizes her for not accommodating Denji's preferences. Unfazed, Denji mentions sushi again and resumes his search through the remains, while Asa watches in frustration, with the others looking on in silent confusion and sympathy. Later on, as they walk toward a train, Denji spots a pseudo-Chainsaw Man corpse. Haruka dismissively mentions that a station attendant will clean it up, but Denji insists that finding corpses like this shouldn't be considered normal. Asa, however, accepts it as a grim reality. On the train, Fami suggests visiting sushi restaurants, though she notes the best ones are either destroyed or have a deceased chef, leaving them with the budget option, Sushishi, where Nobana remarks enjoying the tea there. During the ride, Denji observes a mother with an injured eye and her son and questions Asa about her motives for fighting him. She believes defeating him could save him. Skeptical, Denji asks if she's still brainwashed by the church, which she denies. She then tells Fami to explain it. Fami clarifies that their objective is to free him from his bond with Pochita, enabling him to live a normal human life while allowing the true Chainsaw Man to emerge. She continues, stating that if they can defeat the real Chainsaw Man and transplant a human heart into his body, he could become an ordinary human once again. Denji questions Fami about how she knows all this, then turns to Asa to ask if she truly believes what Fami is saying. Asa defends Fami, explaining that her trust in Fami stems from Fami's help in rescuing him and her efforts to make amends for past wrongdoings by doing the right thing now. As Asa seeks confirmation from Fami, a stomach rumble interrupts the moment, leaving the others silently staring, awaiting Fami's response. Denji, puzzled by the concept of a normal life, questions Asa further. She envisions a future where he could return to school, have a stable home, and reunite with Nayuta. He asks her if she's ever eaten toilet paper before, then shares his own childhood experience of having to eat it when he was very poor. Now that he's well fed, he explains he can't imagine returning to that life. He asks Fami if she understands, but she misinterprets his story as a metaphor and urges him to speak plainly. Denji clarifies that he can't return to a normal life, but Asa vows to help him regain it. Overhearing the conversation, Katana Man, while smoking a cigarette, mocks at her sensitivity. Asa, defending Denji, scolds him for smoking on the train. Complying, he drops his cigarette and suggests skipping the sushi to visit a soap land, believing it will cheer Denji in an instant. Katana Man reveals that the brothel he's suggesting they visit is the one he owns, which disgusts Asa. She tries to persuade Denji that this is the last thing he needs, but to her shock, he seems intrigued. Denji admits his recent lack of sexual activity, suggesting it might be contributing to his depressive mood. This shocks Asa further, prompting Denji to liken intercourse to other basic needs like eating and sleeping. He tries to get Nobana and Haruka to agree with him, but they shrug him off. Asa rebukes him, calling him a shameless pig and reminds him of his mission to find Nayuta. Denji, however, brushes this off, expressing a desire to fulfill his physical needs first. Upon arriving at the brothel, they find it burned to the ground, adding to Katana Man's distress. As rain begins to fall, a frustrated Asa declares she no longer cares about their meal plans. Overwhelmed, Denji collapses and breaks down, upset with himself for not prioritizing correctly. He confesses that the allure of having a harem was a significant motivation for his return to being Chainsaw Man. Nobana's half-hearted laughter triggers Denji to assert his seriousness. He blames his libido for his troubles, angrily pounding the ground. Seizing the moment, Yoru, controlling Asa's body, shockingly offers to solve Denji's problems by castrating him if necessary. Yoru, spotting a piece of trash on the ground, discreetly uses her powers to transform it into a knife, concealing her actions from Denji. As she approaches him, Denji is still taken aback by her earlier drastic offer. Yoru, unfazed, presses him to decide if he truly wishes to eliminate his desires. Overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation, Denji hastily backs out, knocking the knife from Yoru's hand. She responds by shoving her hands down his pants, intending to crush his kintama. However, the physical contact triggers a flashback in Yoru's subconscious, the kiss she gave him at his old apartment. Confused by the flood of memories, Yoru pauses and gazes at Denji. Acting impulsively, she begins to kiss him. Caught in the whirlwind of conflicting emotions, they find themselves drawn to each other. All the while, Yoru begins to, well, comfort Denji. As moments pass, the intensity of their encounter escalates before Denji suddenly pulls away. The situation, well, let's just say it ends in a way that I can't quite detail here. Think of it as the Shinji hand treatment, if you catch my drift. Anyway, Yoru, shocked and disgusted, looks down at her hand and quickly washes it in a puddle of rainwater while Denji slumps down. She tells Denji not to misunderstand the situation. She kissed him simply because it felt good in the moment. As Denji begins to question her motives, Yoru cuts him off, reiterating that her actions were driven by impulse, not affection, and warns him not to get conceited. Despite her words, she leans in and kisses him again. Confused, Denji asks if she has feelings for him. Yoru denies any personal affection, explaining it's the other Herr who harbors feelings and that these emotions inadvertently influence her actions. Denji is left speechless and alone as Yoru, suddenly mentioning she's hungry, abruptly leaves. Meanwhile, Asa, fueled by jealousy and confusion, confronts Yoru and slams her against the wall. She demands to know why Yoru kissed Denji. Yoru explains that she sensed their previous intimacy and was merely confirming her suspicions. She asks Asa if it felt good, only for Asa to raise her fist and punch her in the face. As Yoru questions why she would do that if she likes Chainsaw Man, Asa regains control of her body. Distraught, Asa accuses Yoru of making Denji think less of her. Holding back tears and overwhelmed by hunger, Asa declares she's too exhausted to deal with the situation. On the train, the atmosphere remains tense. Denji sits quietly between Fami and Haruka, with Asa on the other side of the carriage, all heading to Fami's recommended sushi spot, Sushishi. As the group arrives at Sushishi, they are greeted by the staff and seated before a vast array of sushi on conveyor belts. Overlooking a crowd of fellow diners, Denji wonders if they also experience something similar to Shinji in Evangelion. He wonders whether these moments bring him happiness or confusion. Meanwhile, an embarrassed Asa claims that she can't eat anything and asks Fami if she could wait outside, but Fami has her mouth full of sushi, making her speech unintelligible. Haruka questions Nobana if it's alright to eat sushi without Segi or the Nail Fiend who are guarding their hideout. Nobana refuses to eat any actual sushi, prompting Haruka to call him out. The boy explains that he doesn't want to be responsible for paying the group's bill, leading Haruka to label him as weird. Nobana protests and points out that Asa is the strangest among them. Despite missing an arm, she acts as if nothing is wrong, whereas someone like him would be crying for a week. Suddenly, a man at their table remarks that Asa's situation resembles an animal's adaptation to limb loss. The man is revealed to be Baram, who explains that animals simply adapt to a lost limb for survival. He then rhetorically asks whether devils are supposed to feel sadness as well. Haruka shouts out who Baram is, catching Denji's attention. Getting up, Denji tries to stab Baram with a pair of chopsticks, but Baram stops him by revealing that he can lead Denji to Nayuta if he agrees to listen. Baram starts explaining the proper way to eat sushi, but Denji interrupts him, angrily demanding to know Nayuta's whereabouts. Baram then reveals that public safety is pursuing them and has the building surrounded. He warns that they'll be captured as soon as they step outside. If Denji wants to find Nayuta, he needs to help save Baram from this predicament. Desperate to rescue his adoptive sister, Denji asks what he needs to do. For now, Baram simply requests that Denji join him in eating some tamago nigiri. Baram starts by explaining the traditional way to enjoy sushi, recommending moving from lighter to richer toppings. Denji, frustrated, snaps at him to get to the point, but Baram calmly reminds him that cooperation is necessary if he wants to see Nayuta. Reluctantly, Denji eats the tamago nigiri offered to him. Next, Baram presents squid sushi, which Denji eats hastily, his lack of manners irking the flamethrower hybrid. In a fit of irritation, Denji knocks over some plates and demands to know if eliminating the public safety agents outside would allow him to see his sister. Baram clarifies that public safety and remnants of the Chainsaw Man Church seek a piece of Chainsaw Man's power, specifically his ability to erase concepts from existence. Denji is baffled, countering that chainsaws are meant for cutting trees, not erasing concepts. Baram suggests that chainsaws might have had additional, now forgotten uses, with only the tree felling remaining in collective memory. He hands Denji lean tuna sushi, explaining that two conditions must be met to fully summon the Chainsaw Devil: widespread fear of him and his own personal unhappiness. Baram gleefully notes that while Denji's hero status previously made the first condition difficult, the Fire Devil's recent actions have instilled widespread terror. As they continue, Baram signals for the next dish, fatty tuna, and instructs the chef to send it down the conveyor. The entire restaurant, including Denji's group, reacts with shock, horror, and confusion. As the dish slowly makes its way down to Denji, it is revealed to be Nayuta's head. This shocking discovery leaves Denji and the others stunned. Denji freaks out, his body drenched in sweat the instant he sees Nayuta's head on the conveyor belt. Baram offers a cold apology, explaining that his actions, though cruel, were necessary to save the world. Then, Denji grabs Baram's neck. His intestines begin to spill out and wrap around his neck, initiating his transformation into the Chainsaw Devil. In the process, he fully rips off Baram's head. Asa and Yoru watch in awe as Denji completes his transformation before his attention shifts elsewhere. Nearby, on a rooftop, a man is giving orders to several teams from various public safety divisions. Turning to his team of 5 fiends, he explains that today's mission will determine their futures. Success in eliminating or capturing the Black Chainsaw Man will secure their protection under public safety. Failure will result in their termination like any other devil. He promises them unlimited sushi and booze if they survive. As he initiates the mission for the newly reformed Special Division 5, the group remains unaware that the Chainsaw Devil is right behind them. As Special Division 5 begins to move out, the member with the crocodile head receives an order to jump from her devil half. She does so, but the Chainsaw Devil swiftly strikes through the group, eliminating everyone. The crocodile-headed fiend starts to celebrate, only to realize she has also been taken down. Nearby, a man instructs Special Division 6 to begin their operation, detonating explosives directly beneath Pochita. He tries to attack the public safety member, but is restrained by the centipede devil. Pochita is then attacked by another insect devil as the leader of Division 6 confirms that the Chainsaw Devil is injured before Pochita manages to break free. He orders the pill bug fiend to protect them, but Pochita overpowers them as well. With his defeated foes hanging from his intestines, Pochita begins consuming the ear devil. Public safety observes the battle through their cameras, recording which specific devils Pochita is consuming. Katana Man asks Yoru where Chainsaw Man has gone, but she replies that something has disappeared. Katana Man insists he can't hear her, and Yoru then realizes by feeling the side of her face that everyone's ears are starting to vanish as she smirks. A montage reveals various people and animals reacting to the sudden loss of their ears. In a public safety stronghold, a representative informs a group of seated men that the erased devil was the ear devil. When the men fail to react, she asks them to confirm if they remember ears at all. Their lack of response confirms her suspicions, prompting her to alert her higher-ups. Meanwhile, 3 public safety members are shown in a restroom, each slicing off a fingertip. They use their blood to write "hit" on the mirrors while saying cervical spine, neck, and vertebrae. A devil in hell reads the message, sighs, and raises a fist towards a projected mirror. Pochita, who is about to consume the next devil's head, is suddenly struck by a giant fist. The attack doesn't go unanswered, and Pochita swiftly slices off 2 of the devil's fingers. However, Yoshida intervenes by summoning the octopus devil to restrain Pochita. The devil commends Yoshida's efforts before constricting Pochita enough to force him to spit out the ear devil's head, thereby restoring everyone's ears and making this elephant right here the happiest animal I've ever seen in manga. Elsewhere, several Japanese politicians, including Prime Minister Kentaro Ishida, gather in a courtyard. Reviewing a transcript, Ishida seeks confirmation about the Ear Devil's erasure. Haraji Sakagami, the Minister of Communication and Internal Affairs, confirms the event. Shin Toma, the Minister of Defense, asks how the power of erasure can be used for good. We then see Fumiko, representing the Public Safety Devil Hunters, explaining that this power helps humans evolve by removing obstacles to progress. She adds that public safety has a positive relationship with the aging devil, previously revealed as the primal fear that attacked Pochita, which is willing to be erased by the Chainsaw Devil due to its lack of attachment to life. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yuki Tomoda questions the potential negative side effects, asking if mental and physical decline due to aging will vanish from all living things. Fumiko dismisses these concerns, noting that while ears were erased, ear-related items like phones and radios remain. Tomoda deems the situation chaotic, but Fumiko agrees, stating that's why they are managing Chainsaw Man's chaos carefully. When Toma asks about the devil's terms, Fumiko reveals that the aging devil demands the execution of 10,000 Japanese children, aged between infancy and 9 years, performed in front of a mirror. This revelation shocks most of the men. Fumiko pressures the group for agreement, and former Minister of Finance Tadashi Hasegawa approves the plan, stating his grandson is already rounding up orphans. He directs Miki Takanashi, the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry, to meet the remaining number by granting citizenship to refugee children. When Takanashi protests, Hasegawa threatens to include his own children in the 10,000, leading Takanashi to relent. Hasegawa tells Fumiko that the children will be assigned within 48 hours and instructs her to conform with public safety. She grins as she prepares to call them, but then notices something strange. Everyone's mouths have disappeared. The scene shifts to show people and animals without mouths, revealing that the Chainsaw Devil has also erased the concepts of snow, octopi, and bitterness. A passerby turns the corner into the alley where Pochita stands, and both he and others try to flee. Anti-Chainsaw Man protesters rush at Pochita, but he decapitates 3 of them, causing the rest to run. The only one who remains is Katana Man, who begins to transform as the aging devil prepares to attack again. As Katana Man tries to rush attack, Yoru dives from above with the sushi longsword, aiming to pierce Chainsaw Man's skull. The aftermath reveals that the aging devil has lost both its hands, Katana Man has lost his arms and head, and his body collapses onto Yoru. Yoru kicks the body away and stands up, revealing that her other arm is also missing. She kneels before Pochita, who approaches as she looks up at him with shock and fear. In a flashback, Yoru is shown sitting in a bathtub, reaching for a bar of soap with her left hand. It glides into her hand and transforms into a sword. She shows it off to Asa, who isn't surprised. Asa explains that when she turned her apartment into a weapon, she didn't need to say its name. Yoru adds that while their strength is growing, it's still not enough to defeat Chainsaw Man. She notes that because of the pseudo Chainsaw Man and the fear of war, the Chainsaw Devil only grows stronger. Asa suggests that Yoru bury the hatchet, as defeating Denji won't make her happy, especially with everyone remembering the horrors of war. Yoru clarifies that it's not just about pride. She wants to rescue her comrades that Chainsaw Man swallowed. When Asa asks if she has a plan, Yoru reveals she has 2 methods. Asa questions why Yoru is burning through her college savings instead of using these weapons, but Yoru explains that it would ruin her plan to save her comrades. Determined, Yoru exclaims she'll do anything to prove she's a more fearsome devil. In the present, Yoru wonders if she'd be willing to turn her own children into weapons for her cause, realizing that she would. Summoning both the Gun Devil and Tank Devil, who are locked in containment cells in the Gulf of Mexico and Mount Elbrus respectively, she forms hands from their power. Mimicking Makima's bang, she shoots off one of the Chainsaw Devil's arms, tearing a hole in its stomach and freeing the Mouth Devil. Smiling, Yoru feels confident in her newfound strength. She fires another shot at Pochita, but he manages to block it. The recoil, however, sends him hurtling into a nearby building. Sensing Asa behind her, Yoru reflects on how the Tank and Gun Devils were born from war, making them her kin. Asa asks if eliminating the Black Chainsaw Man will give Denji his wish for an ordinary life. Yoru confirms, saying that's what Fami told them. When Asa asks whether Yoru is truly okay with using her kin as weapons, Yoru responds with a rhetorical question: are children their parents' property? Leaving Asa in shock. Leaping out from his crash, Pochita watches from the building's roof. Yoru asks if he remembers her and the pain and hunger she once inflicted on him. When Pochita doesn't respond, she angrily demands a fight, but he flees. He approaches the blood bank volunteer, scaring her away mid-chant, and awkwardly picks up the sign, trying to mimic her chant. Not giving Pochita a chance to recover, Yoru launches another attack, sacrificing the index fingers of 400,000 members from the 3.5 million National Pistol Association of America to power her strike. Posing like the Statue of Liberty, she lowers her finger, revealing cracks forming across the statue's face. In America, onlookers watch in horror as the top half of the Statue of Liberty crumbles, revealing a monstrous figure holding a rifle. Yoru commands the statue to fire, sending a finger-shaped bullet across the world, striking Pochita and blasting him through several buildings. Asa, witnessing the destruction, regains control and realizes too late how truly evil Yoru is. Pochita, now reduced to just a head and torso, is approached by the aging devil. Pouring blood into Pochita's mouth, the aging devil tells him to devour their entire body from bottom to top, explaining the terms of their deal with the Japanese government. They call the act romantic, asking Pochita if he understands. As they tell him to eat up, they reflect on a mirror, showing children being gathered up by the authorities for a grim fate. To find out what happens next in Chainsaw Man, you're going to want to click on this video right here.